Creston, we're going to talk about, your experience with starting a company, and actually maybe if you can just start off with telling us a little bit about what your company does. Um,
So, the company name is Ruby Tree Software. Um, Started it to do a SaaS app, a software as an application service, and for doing online giving and eventually online event registration for nonprofits, primarily colleges and universities. Why? Because that's where I came from. So that's, working there, I got the idea for the product, so I started it then. Um, and over the years, it did not grow as much as I had wanted. So during that time, I started doing consulting and fair amount of PostgreSQL database consulting, and then also some Ruby on Rails consulting because Ruby on Rails is the framework that was used to build the software as a service application. So as it stands now, what's interesting is that the consulting revenues are approximately 66% of the business and 33% are the product revenues of the online giving online event service. Actually wanted those to be flipped, but as of right now, it's kind of where they are. So doing a little bit more consulting than kind of I want or my goal. I mean, it's fine, but I'm wanting to kind of do more of the product. Oh, what about the other 1%? Uh, yeah, good question. Picking up pennies somewhere.
Couch cushion diving.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So, Creston, how long ago did you start the company?
2009.
Oh, really? Okay.
So a
Okay. So you have
long
a lot of
time,
experience with this.
a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how, a lot of other people have started their companies in 2009, like have long gotten rid of it or sold it or got out of it or whatever. So what I like to say, someone wrote this and I can't remember where it was, but like if you're a small business, uh, a lot of times as long as you keep on plodding forward, you can never die. You're like the cockroach they can't kill. So if you don't take on debt and things of that nature, you can go for apparently a really long time. Um, but yeah.
So, I think there are a few different categories of startups, right? So in the tech world, pretty often you hear about sort of these high tech, high growth startups that try to gain unicorn status or try to, grow and really gain a lot of VC funding. But it sounds like what you took is more sort of the bootstrapping approach and then take some consulting and you're building out a small business rather than one of these things that aims to be, essentially just something where people just put more money into and eventually maybe it'll go public and maybe you'll have a product. So
Yeah,
I actually can, yeah. Mhm.
exactly. So a bootstrap business. So like um Rob Walling is in the startup space. He uh basically wrote some different books on the bootstrap. So it's following him in that bootstrapping process. I never was interested in getting investment
Mhm.
and the strings attached and whatnot. I mean, I will say the it hasn't been as much of a monetary benefit as if I probably stayed where I was and kept working. But in terms of a lifestyle change, it was massive in terms of being able to spend more time with my kids and whatnot.
Mhm.
So that is something that's given me a lot of flexibility, this particular business, and doing it for over a decade. But yeah, I've never really wanted to take investment. If a larger company wanted to eventually buy me out, thumbs up. But I didn't want. I wasn't going for that unicorn status, and I
Mhm.
you know never tried to do that because I
Right. So
also
you're
never really didn't want to try to move to San Francisco like so many others have to do and whatnot. So
see. Yeah, so actually, I think for a lot of the people who are watching, they don't necessarily know what the negatives are in terms of gaining investment. So you mentioned there's strings attached, right? Can you talk a little bit about what those are and what about them that you're trying to avoid?
Well, I mean, I that's a good question. I mean, it's pretty much I saw the two paths that there are people that essentially did it themselves. So they got started, they did their own coding. Oh, it looks like code is frozen a little bit. They did their own coding and they were able to build a solution. They didn't need investment to do it. Whereas a bunch of others were going for the moonshot, wanted to make millions, billions of dollars. And that just, I don't know, that just didn't appeal to me in terms of, because basically you're no longer master of your own domain. You have to follow what they say. Eventually, you may get pushed out of your own company, is things I've seen over the years. Um, so really, I mean, I'm, the 100% stock owner of the company, so I can pretty much have freedom to do what I want to do. Um, who I am beholden to is just customers.
Mhm.
Whereas in that other scenario, you're beholden to, you name it, bankers and investment advisors, and you know, you're not the owner sometimes, or you have partial ownership and whatnot. And I just have to worry about my customers. I also kind of like that perspective as well. There's not someone else that needs to be involved in it, has a role in it. So basically I can just listen to customer demand and decide if this makes sense or not for the business.
I think one of the comments here says strings attached, investors expect results. Um, and certainly investors expect results, but I think one piece there as well is that for most investors, at least for VCs, they only need one success to in their current fund, right? So they might only need one company to go unicorn, and they don't really care which one it is. So
Yeah.
they just kind of push you to get a result as quickly as possible, and they just need something, to do well to cover for all the rest as well. So that's pretty common, and I think that's part of why the results is, you know, might not necessarily be aligned with your long-term growth, which Creston, I think you mentioned sustainability of your lifestyle and of the business is very important. So that's a big part of that, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I never anticipated it, but that has been the result. In other words, when I got started, I didn't envision, well, I was envisioning being having higher revenues and whatnot.
Mhm.
But the biggest, I would say the biggest benefit is not that, but necessarily, unfortunately, not that, but it has been the freedom that it has allowed me, as well as spending time with family. If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.